appearance on Dion's Daily Dose does not imply endorsement from or by any candidate or guest. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by Dion Bergeron or Dion's Daily Dose are his own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of any guest. Material and information presented is for general information purposes only. The Dion's Daily Dose name in all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owners, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to today's Dion's Daily Dose. We're here with Shawn Holmgren, who is going to join us for one of our famed face-to-face. Today we got several subjects, but make sure you tune back in or stay tuned after the video. We're having Kurt Ernst on, who is a candidate for LaPorte County Superior Court Judge. No, Circuit Court Judge. That's important. There's a distinction. I can't tell you offhand exactly what it is, but there is a distinction. No, I know what it is. We'll get into it later. Matter of fact, tune in at 7 to learn if you want to know. But without further ado, Shawn, there he is.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure to have you on. You look good next to Batman, man. I like it. Yeah. As far as decor goes, I think it fits better than Mom's picture. So I swapped them around. The picture that I had back there was painted by my mother, who's no longer with us. It's not a particularly good painting, but it was my mom's. So there you go. But I like Batman. It's still there for those, curious, but we have some interesting stories to get into today. I'm going to let you kind of lead us off.
Okay. Do all the topics or?
Yeah, just go ahead and tell everybody what we're going to be talking about today.
We're going to be talking about the Havana Syndrome, and it's been a condition that has affected embassy staff across the world. There's been like 7 or 8 different times that people have said that they've had headaches and dizziness. And then we're also going to talk about California raising the minimum wage to $20 an hour.
$20 an hour minimum wage for all workers in California, except certain ones that were exempted. Panera Bread was exempted, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Interestingly enough, they donated to Governor Newsom's campaign, and then suddenly they were exempt. Another individual that happens to be exempt from this $20 minimum wage is
Gavin Newsom.
Newsom himself. His restaurant somehow, some way is exempt.
And then a California Assemblyman, Matt Haney, proposes legislation that would ban employers from contacting employees when they are off the clock.
We got some interesting stuff on that one. I'm not going to say too much. We'll talk about it when we get to the story itself.
And then your topics are Band-Aids are now maybe hazardous to your health. So Band-Aids, and not just Band-Aid brand, but several store brands, will provide the exhaustive list, have been determined to cause what's considered forever chemicals, cancer-causing chemicals that, interestingly enough, have zero reason to be in a wound covering. Also, these wound coverings are on an open wound, hence the entire purpose of a Band-Aid, and they've been known to cause cancer. I'm sure it's simple coincidence, but Band-Aids join the long list of things that seem, interestingly enough, designed to inflict damage upon us. Yeah. LaPorte County. So there's a scam going around where your phone will show LaPorte County Sheriff's Office. It's not them. And then finally, what was the last one? Oh, there's some drama on a police academy graduation. Apparently there was a Chinese character that was used. We'll get into it. And in today's conspiracy theory segment, I think we're going to talk about the eclipse, right? So there are some interesting theories going around. I've heard everything from the planet Nibiru
is instead of the sun and the moon, that it somehow has to do with this mysterious Planet X. It used to be called Planet X. Now it's, I guess, called Nibiru. And what was the, that there's,
I heard that there might start the human sacrifice.
Yeah. So there's a thought that the human sacrifice is involved. And then there's another one that the rocket, because NASA is launching rockets to this. And allegedly it's going to interfere with, let me see if I get this right. It's going to interfere with the frequencies put out by, I guess, transmitters on the moon. Okay. And we're going to see what's really there. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll get into it. It's going to be, it's going to be interesting, but let's get started. So the first story, you want to talk about the minimum wage first?
We can do that.
Okay. So let's see here. Okay. That's not it. That's not it. There it is. Okay. So, let me put this where I need it to be so that you guys can enjoy it as well. So the New York Post reports that Gavin Newsom's restaurant offering job at $16 an hour, despite the new state law, right? I normally try to do this first, but there it is. Good. Okay. So again, Gavin Newsom's restaurant offering job at $16 an hour, despite the new state law of $20 per hour for fast food restaurants. So he's getting yelled at, obviously. Why? Plump Jack Cafe in Olympic Valley, which is among a group of eateries owned by a company Newsom founded in 1992, is hiring a part-time busser who will, hold on. I'm looking at the wrong one. There it is. Okay. After a restaurant he partially owns posted a job listing, right? Plump Jack Cafe, it's among a group of eateries owned by a company Newsom founded in 1992, is hiring a part-time busser who will, quote, aim to assist the food server to ensure guest satisfaction during all aspects of the dining experience. In other words, it's a busboy. Like, they do whatever they're told to do in general. The job listing states the salary, $16 an hour plus tips. But a food service worker would make more working at a McDonald's than at the high-end restaurant and bar, thanks to the new $20 fast food minimum wage. So really, that's about it. And it goes into more about it. But as you see, once again, it's rules for thee, but not for me. On a related note, since the law actually went into effect, the $20 an hour minimum wage law actually went into effect, we have seen a slew of firings.
Yeah. And layoffs.
Layoffs. Fast food across California are just firing people.
And I think this is going to bring in more AI for workers for restaurants.
Bingo. Because if you can buy a robot, right, or a kiosk, for example, right, you can set up a kiosk, and even maintaining that kiosk, let's say it's $100,000 a year for a kiosk. That kiosk takes the place of multiple cashiers, and that they don't call off sick. They don't complain about being tired. They work 24 hours a day.
And you don't have to provide health insurance.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. There is a lot that can be a lot of bosses. You know, what's interesting is all of the jobs these days that are actually getting replaced by AI and robots, etc., aren't the traditional jobs we thought of as being, I guess, the target or in danger. Yeah. Right? We're seeing more higher level jobs, executives getting cut because, let's face it, there was a company that actually used AI for their CEO. They ran a side-by-side comparison, right? They took all the decisions that the CEO actually, I'll have to look it up because it's actually quite interesting. It was a story I read a little while ago. They took all the decisions made by their actual CEO and they ran these decisions through an AI program. Maximum profit is the parameters, right? And staying within the law. Maximize profit, stay within the law. And obviously, this AI can cross index all the laws, right? They had like a 37% higher productivity, a 26% reduced, I think, human resources cost, like across, and the actual human CEO missed several legal loopholes that the AI picked up on. And look at how much these CEOs are paid. Like, it would be a little gratifying to me to see a few of them out of a job personally. I don't know how you feel about it, but just me personally, just a little.
Oh, we got a comment.
Do we?
Yeah, I just saw a comment flash up on the screen.
See, that's weird because I'm not seeing it.
Somebody named Shannon.
Interesting. That is odd. So apparently, I don't know what's going on, but I'm having.
I don't know which.
Yeah.
Social media.
Interesting. That's something that I will have to look into because apparently we're getting comments that I'm not able to see. As there it is. Oh, that's why. Okay. Shannon said he texted me, not comment. Okay. Send it to me on Facebook Messenger because my phone no, you're good. My phone is actually in use as Shawn's camera. Shawn is here in studio and I'm still like working. So send it to me on Facebook Messenger. That I actually have access to. Okay, so moving on. No, that's not the right one. Hold on.
What the next topic?
Oh, here it is. Yeah. That's the same.
Did I send
No, you're good. Okay. I did it. Okay. So yeah. That's okay, because all I need is this.
The next topic's about if employers should be able to contact employees off hours.
Yeah. So
in the business I'm in, that would never work.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about this. So a California bill would let employees ignore bosses' after hours calls and messages, right? Under the bill, employers could face civil penalty if they violate the rule. Now, on some jobs, right? How are you supposed to get in touch with your employees to find out if they can work? Let's say, for example, you work at McDonald's, and let's just throw that out there, a fast food, a food, whatever. You work at McDonald's, and in order to find, or like my son works at a grocery store, they have to call him. They don't blow his phone up, but they called him the other day. They're like, hey, can we adjust your schedule on Thursday of next week? Because blah, 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 right? Can you come in an hour earlier and leave an hour earlier? Okay, I see no problem with that. On the other hand, there are certain professions and certain jobs that I think that would be a real problem. Like, for example, right? If you do, let's say you're the scheduler, right? Okay. For this business, and you work from 9 to 5, for example, and you do all your work from 9 to 5. And then when you go home, the boss is constantly texting you saying, hey, tomorrow do this. And, oh yeah, tomorrow we need to do that. And, oh yeah, like that would get really old. And I know that there are bosses like that out there. I've had a boss like that before. There's real, and my wife brought up an interesting point. Her thought is that this bill is actually the force behind it, if you will, is the companies that own these scheduling apps. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but okay, so there's an app, there's several, but one of them I'm thinking of, where you put in your availability, right? And then your employer assigns hours based on what you put in, right? They're trying to push more people and more companies to use these apps rather than just, hey, you know,
just like calling them.
Yeah. Let's see what the actual thing says. Workers in California may legally be allowed to disregard messages from their boss after the workday ends. The pressure to respond to work messages after hours has rapidly increased in recent years, especially as remote work during the pandemic blurred the line between work and personal life boundaries. It has exacerbated worker burnout and forced many countries to look into, quote, right to disconnect laws, according to the WEF. Ooh. Democrat Assemblyman Matt Haney of San Francisco is aiming to add California to that list. All right. If passed, Assembly Bill 2751 would require a public or private employer to establish a workplace policy that provides employees the right to disconnect from communications from the employer during non-working hours, except as specified. Now, I don't necessarily disagree with the idea behind the bill. Because if you work, say, this time to this time, then when you're off, you should not be required to get back to your boss. And I know that there are companies out there that if you don't answer my text, you don't have a job. So, okay, let's see where this goes, though. This means that, except in cases of an emergency or for scheduling. Workers would have the, quote, right to ignore communications from the employer during non-working hours, according to the text of the bill. Okay. I'm leaning more into this then. Interesting. Oh, okay. So yeah, the wife who actually mentioned that says Connect Team, 7 Shifts, Sling are some of the apps that's just to name a few. Non-working hours would be established by a written agreement between the workers and the employer. If the employer violates the rule, they could face a civil penalty of at least $100. Ooh, a whole $100.
Wow,
not $100.
They're gonna go broke.
That's like 5 hours in California at minimum wage. California would become the first state in the country to consider such a law. However, more than a dozen countries have already enacted similar laws. Kenya was the latest to do so. France was the first to enact a right to disconnect law in 2017. Haney's office told Fox 5 that studies revealed how workers were, quote, healthier, happier, and more productive after these laws were passed. At the same time, Haney said the law will help the state better compete against other states for skilled workers. Quote, we are in constant competition with other states like Texas and New York who are trying to woo California workers to their states. That's true. He said, giving our workers the right to disconnect will be a major benefit to our workforce and makes the California tech sector better able to compete for skilled workers. I'm not seeing a deeper explanation of the bill, but like, I don't know. I see potential there. I also see some potential issues. So yeah. Okay. So as the wife says, what about with home health care or what she used to do? If I found out something important for the next shift to know before they get to work, like for example, with home health care, the client may be in the hospital instead of at their home. So the next shift needs to know, report to the hospital rather than to the patient's home. But would that now here's the question, would that apply under scheduling?
I think it would.
No more on call. What about healthcare providers? There's lots of unanswered questions with this bill. I can't provide a definitive this sucks or this is good without more in-depth study of the bill itself. I don't live in California. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time reading through their crazy laws, but it would not surprise me to see something like that start kind of domino effect across the country. So we'll have to keep our eyes open for that. So the next little tidbit we got here is, first of all, what is Havana Syndrome?
Okay, it's basically a condition that causes headaches and dizziness. They have problems concentrating, and there's like a painful sound in the ears. And I saw on the news some lady was saying like they could feel pain from their ear to their jaw.
Now, at one point, didn't they think that that was caused by like some sort of sonic weapon or radiation, or like there were a lot of theories that were going around about what caused it, right?
They thought it was originally they thought it was Cuba doing it.
Right. That's why they call it Havana Syndrome, right? Okay.
But now 60 Minutes did a special last Sunday.
Which, go ahead.
They're blaming Russia for it.
Now, what's really interesting about this, and maybe we should have did the conspiracy theory on the Havana Syndrome thing, because at the day before or day after 60 Minutes released this, right? There's a media organization that's actually run by an anti-Russian Ukrainian guy, but it's pretty, I don't remember the name of it, but it's pretty popular nowadays. And they said that Russia has a huge announcement that they're going to make, and it's going to be all over. And then they pointed to this 60 Minutes thing. It was weird.
I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, it was.
I just think it's weird.
It was on X. A lot of it was on X. So
I just find it weird that they think everything is Russia.
Right. Everything is Russia these days. So let's kind of dive into this a little bit. In Havana Syndrome patients, the NIH, which is the National Institute of Health, that's like a UK thing, right?
No, that's ours.
Oh, that's ours. Okay. Oh, yeah. Embassy of the United States. Scientists find no physical trace of harm. What's there? Because I keep getting NIH confused with their
NHS.
NHS. That's
their National Health Service.
National Health Service. That's what it is. Okay. So workers at the U.S. Embassy in Havana leave the building in September 2017. New research out of the National Institutes of Health finds no unusual pattern of damage in the brains of Havana Syndrome patients.
So they're basically saying it's in their head.
Right. It's all in their head. 2 rigorous government studies found no unusual pattern of injury or disease in the brains of people with the mysterious cluster of symptoms known as Havana Syndrome. The studies involved more than 80 government employees and family members who experienced, quote, anomalous health incidents, end quote, while stationed in countries including Cuba, China, Austria, and the United States itself. Go away. Many of the individuals had reported hearing odd sounds or sensing pressure before suddenly developing symptoms, including vertigo, loss of balance, and ear pain, like you mentioned. Some U.S. government officials have suggested the symptoms were the result of attacks by other nations, perhaps using a weapon that directed electromagnetic energy at individuals. But the studies conducted at the National Institutes of Health did not find evidence supporting that idea. Now, remember, I'm just going to interject here real quick. These are the same institutions that study things like the vaccine, Band-Aids, our foods, and we're discovering all these things cause cancer. So they're not infallible, to say the least. Instead, it found that the brains of affected people were no different than the brains of similar people who hadn't reported symptoms. Now, you know what that tells me? Whatever they use doesn't have lasting effects. It's a very short term. I mean, I guess my question is, if you were to get stabbed in the leg, would it change your brain patterns? I don't know. We'll keep reading. The results were published in JAMA, the Journal of the American Medical Association. We didn't see differences in the structure of the brain or even in the functional connectivity of the brain, says Dr. Leighton Chan, Chief of Rehabilitation Medicine at the NIH Clinical Center. The findings are the latest to challenge the idea that hundreds of government workers and their families have been targeted and injured since 2016, when the first cases were reported by embassy staff in Havana, hence the name. In 2023, 5 U.S. intelligence agencies concluded it was, quote, highly unlikely that Havana Syndrome was the result of a foreign attack and found, quote, no credible evidence that a weapon capable of causing the symptoms even existed. Now, just to interject real quick, these are the same people, again, who claimed that all of the so-called unidentified flying objects were weather balloons, and then publicly said, no, okay, yeah, we lied to you. You know, there are legitimately things that don't come from any country and we have no idea where they come from. So I'm just tossing that out there. They're not exactly credible. In 2022, a CIA report found that most of the symptoms attributed to Havana Syndrome were from previously diagnosed illnesses or stress. But I don't know, dude, ear pain, and they're all consistent in their descriptions of these. I don't know. But neither of those reports nor the two new studies rule out the possibility that some individuals have been attacked and injured, says Dr. David Relman, a professor of medicine and of microbiology and immunology at Stanford University, who wrote an editorial accompanying the new research. Okay, he sounds like he might know what he's talking about, maybe. I mean, he's a professor of medicine and of microbiology and immunology. Sounds like there are multiple problems with both of the studies, says Relman, who was part of an assessment by the National Academies that concluded that directed pulsed radio frequency energy could have produced the signs and symptoms of Havana Syndrome. Interesting. For example, he says, even the most sophisticated brain scans can miss a subtle brain injury, especially if the brain has had time to heal.
And the brain is still a mysterious.
Oh, yeah, there's still tons of stuff we don't know about the brain. Another problem is that the studies lumped together a broad range of people and studied their brains at different time points after symptoms first appeared, Relman says. That's a good point. A focus on certain individuals all tested soon after the event might have produced a different result, he says. Right. There we go. It talks about different ways and similar studies. They did a smaller study at the University of Pennsylvania in 2019 had found some subtle differences in the brains of people with symptoms of Havana Syndrome. We didn't, says Dr. Carlo Pierpaoli, chief of the NIH's Laboratory on Quantitative Medical Imaging. That's his answer. No, we didn't.
Yeah, wow.
The NIH study was larger, Pierpaoli says, and used a control group that was better matched in terms of age, profession, and location to the group being studied. It also was designed to produce highly consistent results. The results should be reassuring to affected government workers and their families, this guy says. If there had been any progressive disease in the brains, he says, we would have been able to measure it.
Makes you wonder, maybe they know more than they're putting on, and maybe it's classified and our government doesn't want us to know the truth. That's the only thing I can think of. You know
what? We have, and this is what I'm going to say, and we'll move on. If you guys want to look it up, Havana Syndrome, it's NPR. Our government lies to us all the time. All the time. And you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to understand that our government lies to us, period, end of story.
And they spy on us.
So why would they tell the truth about this? Especially if this is something that here's what I think. I think they said, oh, wow, that's weird. Let's look into that. And then they said, ooh, we might be able to weaponize this.
That's true too.
That's my thought process.
Another thing I was thinking, maybe they're testing some sort of weapon. This could be a test.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because right next to it, National Security CIA report, no evidence linking Havana Syndrome to a foreign country. You know what? That's quite possible. I think if anybody is doing it, it's the CIA.
They could be.
Yeah, and that's who knows? Like I said, you guys want to
do the article real quick about them blaming Russia? Because I send that to you.
Yeah. So let's see. Is that the same?
That's the same one. I think I sent it.
California bill. Yeah, there it is. Okay.
That's interesting that you said that Russia's going to have a big announcement.
Yeah. I'd have to dig into it on X, but I could find it. So Havana Syndrome report links mystery illness to Russian intelligence unit. Now, that's interesting considering the report we just read that said there was no evidence of any foreign involvement.
Which one is it?
Right.
Both.
Right. And this is from BBC. We got NPR and BBC saying two completely different things. A mysterious illness that has affected U.S. diplomats in recent years has been linked to a Russian intelligence unit. Let's be very clear. It's not a has possibly shown, quote, has been linked to a Russian intelligence unit. Right. Personnel stationed around the globe with Havana Syndrome have reported unexplained symptoms such as dizziness. They now they're saying may have been targeted by Russian sonic weaponry, according to a joint investigation by the insider Der Spiegel and CBS's 60 Minutes. It might be Der Spiegel. Moscow has denied the accusations. U.S. officials previously said it was unlikely a foreign power was to blame. But in their assessment of anomalous health incidents, AHIs, which was delivered last year, they did not give any alternative explanation, frustrating those who have been affected. Yeah, that would frustrate me too. The American officials also acknowledged there were varying levels of confidence in the assessment between the different intelligence agencies involved. In other words, we've got one guy from CIA who said it was the Russians. We've got the NSA who says, yeah, this didn't come from anywhere else. The CIA did it. And then we have military intelligence who says, I don't know. Varying levels of confidence.
Weaponizing this to try to hurt Russia because of the Ukraine war. I don't think it was Russia.
I don't think so either. It's just.
It sounds like something that China would do.
Thank you. Yeah, if it's not the CIA, it's likely China. On Monday, the Pentagon said that a senior Defense Department official attending meetings at last year's NATO summit in Lithuania had experienced symptoms similar to Havana Syndrome. I remember reading about that at the time. American personnel struck with the condition, including White House, CIA, and FBI staff, have complained of dizziness, headaches, difficulty concentrating, and an intense and painful sound in their ears. More than 1,000 reports of the ailment. We already covered this, but so this is the National Institutes of Health study. No evidence of any brain changes. There has long been a suspicion that those affected have been hit by directed energy or microwaves fired from hidden devices, a possibility that was acknowledged in an earlier U.S. intelligence report. The fresh media investigation alleges that members of a specific Russian military intelligence unit known as 29155 may have targeted the brains of U.S. diplomats with, quote, directed energy weapons. It says there is evidence that places members of the unit in cities around the world at times when U.S. personnel reported incident. Okay. Now we're talking about actual evidence. Allegedly. This again is the government we're talking about. So who knows? But okay. So now you're drawing an actual link we can see instead of just unconfirmed reports state, right? Or the one that I love. What is it? An insider familiar with the situation. Yes. Yeah. The secretive unit undertakes foreign operations and has been linked to incidents including the attempted poisoning in the UK in 2018 of Sergei Skripal, a former Russian spy. As part of the investigation, the Insider, a Russia-focused site, I think that's the one, reported that an officer in the 29155 unit had been rewarded for their work related to the development of, quote, non-lethal acoustic weapons. An American military investigator examining instances of the syndrome told 60 Minutes that the common link between victims of the syndrome was a, quote, Russia nexus. Ooh. Greg Edgreen explained there was some angle where they had worked against Russia, focused on Russia, and done extremely well. All of them? I don't know, dude. The people, like, there were people in Cuba. I remember Havana Syndrome because there were like people in Cuba that were like nobodies in the beginning that like there was zero connection to Russia there. But moving on. He also said that the official U.S. bar of proof to show Russian involvement had been set too high, as his country did not want to, quote, face some very hard truths. So basically, we say, prove it. And he says, that's too hard to do. In response to the media investigation, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said, quote, no one has ever published or expressed any convincing evidence of these unfounded accusations anywhere. So all of those are nothing more than unfounded accusations. I don't really expect him to say anything else. I mean, at the same time, right. At the same time, he didn't say they didn't do it, but like they've denied it before. I don't see why they like, because sometimes it's methinks thou doth protest too much, right? One victim of the syndrome, an FBI agent, told 60 Minutes about her experience of being hit by a powerful force at her home in Florida, 2021. Bam! Inside my right ear. It was like a dentist drilling on steroids, she told the program. I always forget, like, I don't think about where this stuff comes from until you see the difference in the spellings, like program with an E on it. And then it's like, oh yeah, I'm reading BBC. Right? That feeling when it gets too close to your eardrum, it's like that times 10. Oh, the dentist drilling, like when it gets really close. Ooh, yeah, I bet that. Like, that sounds atrocious. That sounds like it hurts. The woman, known as Carrie, said she ultimately passed out and later had issues with memory and concentration. Here's the thing. It's funny because the report we just read was basically like, oh, yeah, you guys made it up, essentially. And this is the exact opposite. It's talking about how atrocious it is and how, you know, we obviously think that something happened to these people and we're pretty sure Russia did it. Like, what? Responding to the report, U.S. officials told CBS News, the BBC's U.S. partner. Now that tells me a lot right there. If anybody pays attention to CBS, that they would, quote, continue to closely examine anomalous health incidents, but repeated their position that it was, quote, very unlikely a foreign adversary is responsible. So U.S. officials are saying it's very unlikely a foreign adversary is responsible. So it sounds to me like they know we did it.
Yeah, that sounds like the CIA.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, they said they did not, quote, not call into question the very real experiences and symptoms that our colleagues and their family members have reported, saying their work on such incidents was a priority. So they're saying, we know you're experiencing something. We don't think it's fake. We don't think it's bunk. We just don't think foreign adversaries were responsible. So then domestic adversaries, like John Bolton, why won't he just go away? Who served as Donald Trump's national security advisor, said the new allegations are very concerning. He was such a warmonger, dude. You remember that guy with his big Yosemite Sam mustache?
He still is a contributor to Fox, so I have to see him every once in a while.
I don't think the government, frankly, when I was there, took it seriously enough, he told CNN. I don't think they've taken it seriously enough since then.
I really hope if Trump wins, he doesn't bring him back. I could never see I don't know why Trump picked him in the first place. I didn't like him before. I
didn't like him at all. As soon as I saw that guy, I'm like, really? Him? But Republican Senator J.D. Vance, a top Trump ally, rubbished at the report, writing on X, quote, feels like a lot of journalists have lost their minds.
He's an interesting
That's guy. It. J.D. Vance? He is. Yeah. He is. Okay, so all right. We pretty much, like, we kind of gave our thoughts on that, but kind of as a wrap up, if an organization was responsible for this, my bet, the CIA. What do you think?
I agree. I still think it sounds like something China would do. And then maybe they're paying, if it was foreign.
Yeah, if it was a foreign influence, I bet it was China instead of Russia. I would go with that. Yeah, I would go with that. I don't know, man. This whole thing, it just cracks me up when you have within the course of like however long these two reports came out.
I think it was like 2 weeks.
Yeah. You get like it's all basically all but calling it fake. And then Russia did it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, man. It's just awfully suspicious. Okay.
All right. What's the next topic?
All right. This one is mind-blowing to me. So, as a parent, raised kids, they're constant. And heck, I bump my toe and scratch myself too. But with kids especially, you need Band-Aids. You need a stock of Band-Aids. Interestingly enough, nope, that's not the right one. There we go. Interestingly enough, Band-Aids will kill you now too. Cancer-causing forever chemicals found in Band-Aids, where they can get directly into blood through open wounds. Of course, because that's what you put Band-Aids on. 65% of bandages contain fluorine, a necessary component of PFAS. PFAS, or forever chemicals, are in cookware. That's why, like, especially the early, like the DuPont Teflon coated pans and stuff. Once you scratch them, you need to throw them away. I wasn't taught this growing up. I just knew that, you use the pans until you couldn't use them. Once you scratch them, the stuff that's inside of that is like very, very bad for you. It will kill you. So if you have nonstick cookware that's wearing out, get rid of it. Get new stuff. That's my little health information for the day. What, public service announcement? Yeah, a little PSA. So here's the point. Number one, it's not just Band-Aids. We'll get to it. Forever chemicals themselves raise the risk of thyroid cancer by 56%, just by themselves. Bandages, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Bandages from some of the most well-reputed brands, including Band-Aid and Curad, contain dangerous levels of forever chemicals. Tested by a leading watchdog, found the chemical fluorine in over 24 different bandages that can be found in millions of medicine cabinets across the country. PFAS chemicals are sometimes used to make adhesives, and investigators believe they are products of the normal manufacturing process. It's never intentional, is it? It's always just a component of the manufacturing process. It's all, yeah. And investigators believe, fluorine, which is also used to make rocket fuel, can lead to skin burns and eye damage, but it's most dangerous when inhaled. Dr. Linda Birnbaum, a toxicologist and former head of the National Toxicology Program who co-led the lab testing, said the fact that risky chemicals come in direct contact with open wounds was, quote, troubling. Yeah. So easily enter the bloodstream after a person drinks water or eats food laced with them. Once in the bloodstream, PFAS can lodge themselves within healthy tissue where it can begin to damage the immune system, the liver, the kidneys, and other organs. Okay, so here it is. This is what I was looking for. So environmental health watchdogs had 40 bandages from 18 different brands tested for fluorine, and detectable levels were found in 26 of the 40. Consumer watchdog blog Mamavation and Environmental Health News used an EPA-certified lab to look for PFAS chemicals in the absorbent pads and adhesive flaps of bandages sold at major retailers, including CVS, Walmart, Rite Aid, Target, and Amazon. The bandages that contain high levels of fluorine above 100 parts per million, so the bad ones, include the brands. You ready? These are the brands. All right. Band-Aid, Care Science, Curad, CVS Health, Equate, First Honey, Rite Aid brand, Salimo, an Amazon brand, and Up and Up, Target's brand. So basically, the bandages most Americans are going to buy.
Yeah, that's a lot of them.
Band-Aid, Walmart brand, Target brand, CVS brand. Yeah. And Dr. Birnbaum said, quote, because bandages are placed upon open wounds, it's troubling to learn that they may also be exposing children and adults to PFAS. Yeah. So, and it's obvious from the data that PFAS are not needed for wound care. So it's important that the industry remove their presence to protect the public from PFAS and opt instead for PFAS-free materials. PFAS substances contain bonds between carbon and fluorine atoms, creating one very resilient chemical that can remain in the environment for years or even decades. The chemicals are everywhere, most commonly in water and stain repellent products, as well as nonstick cookware, like I just mentioned. Teflon, the kitchen staple nonstick coating, is made with a fluorocarbon called polytetrafluoroethylene, PTFE. PFAS have also been detected in tap water and human blood. A report by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention National Health and Nutrition Examination Study, or NHANES, found PFAS in the blood of 97% of Americans.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. You know who I want to bet the 3% are?
The elite,
No. Well, maybe.
the Amish.
Yep. That was my
elite
guess.
or the Amish.
Yeah. Those that are removed
Yeah.
from our standard, yeah. And then here's all the places you can find PFAS, what it does, etc. You guys can get into that. But I want to show you, and this is kind of another one that is like, of course, this is all purely coincidental, right? It's all just coincidence. Shawn was kind enough to send this to me. And what do you know, ladies and gentlemen? Is decaf coffee going to kill you too? Experts weigh in on claims by health advocacy groups about decaf coffee. Some health advocacy groups argue otherwise, petitioning the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to ban a key chemical involved in the decaffeination process due to cancer concerns. That chemical is methylene chloride, a colorless liquid often used in certain industrial processes, quote, including paint stripping, pharmaceutical manufacturing, paint remover manufacturing, and metal cleaning and degreasing, according to OSHA. Methylene chloride has long been known to be a carcinogen, designated as such by the National Institutes of Health's National Toxicology Program, Environmental Protection Agency, World Health Organization. Let's see here. Filed petitions for consideration. In addition to being carcinogenic, methylene chloride can cause other health harms, such as liver toxicity and at higher exposures, neurological effects, and in some cases, death. Yeah, everything is trying to kill us. But I'm sure, eat, but better. There's an ad. Yeah.
As you were saying that.
Yep. No. Everything's listening. So how do you get away from it? Right? I mean,
yeah, it's in everything.
It's in everything. I find it very, very hard to believe that this is all pure coincidence, that everything. And you know what? This brings me to another little point. So I'm sure you guys have seen the little labels on stuff about this product is known to the state of California to cause cancer.
Yeah.
You've seen that, right? It's on everything. The reason why is because I learned in a video the other day, the way that California worded the law, you could throw it on something and be safe, even if that product was had nothing to do with cancer, right? A glass table. put it on there. If this chemical was somehow later found to contain cancer, they could fine you like enough to destroy your company. So these companies from California or sending to California are putting all these labels on this stuff, and it got to such a saturation level to where people ignored it. Well, unfortunately, they're finding that other stuff is going to kill you before that stuff does, right? Let me show you guys this one I want to make sure we get to. So there is a scam going around right now. It's a very, very short article, but I want to make you aware of it. Ladies and gentlemen, especially if you live in LaPorte County or nearby, authorities warn of a phone scam posing as LaPorte County Sheriff's Office. Have you heard about this?
I have not.
So this is from WSBT. Officials in LaPorte County want to warn residents about a phone scam circulating that pose as police. The LaPorte County Sheriff's Office says they have received many reports about someone calling from what looks like the department's phone number. So spoofing, number spoofing. You can do that. You can appear as if you're calling from anywhere. All it takes is a little bit of technological know-how. Very, very easy to do. And says the victim has an outstanding warrant for failure to appear for jury duty. The scammer then tells the victim, don't worry, you can clear it up by paying over the phone. Authorities say they would never call you and request a payment for a warrant or fine. Look, if you do have a warrant, the sheriff's office is not going to call you and tell you to pay them with gift cards. That's never going to happen.
They'll come get you.
They'll come get you. Exactly. If you have a warrant, they'll come get you. That's the entire article. And look, there are many residents, especially older people, that if a number pops up and it says LaPorte County Sheriff's Office and the same number is the same number that it looks on the phone as the sheriff's office, I can understand it. I get it. But if they tell you, don't worry, all you have to do is pay a fine, and don't worry, you can pay me right now over the phone. Do not do it. Do not.
It's a scam.
It is a scam. Definitively a scam. Yes. Do not pay these people. And I know there was one going around earlier a while back. It was the IRS and back taxes, but don't worry, you can send us a gift card. You can get us a Google Play gift card or an Apple store.
It'll be just fine.
Everything will be just fine. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't work that way. And again, this is mostly targeting the elderly. They don't really understand technology anyway, in many cases. And it just, it can be an issue. So, there is one last story that I want to make sure we cover, and it's weird. It's really weird. I'm going to let you guys draw your own conclusions here. So the headline says, Chinese signatures on graduation certificates upset Northern Virginia police chief. Okay, that line is like, huh? A Northern Virginia town has been excluded from a county-wide police training academy after the town's chief complained about Chinese signatures on trainees' graduation certificates. Okay. What? Like, I need to know more. I read that and I'm like, okay, I can't make a determination about this yet. Fairfax, Virginia. A Northern Virginia town has been excluded. The same thing. Here, Herndon Police Chief Maggie DeBoard complained that the academy director, Major Wilson Lee, used Chinese characters to sign the certificates that graduates receive when they complete training at the Fairfax County Criminal Justice Academy. So they go to this academy, they receive a certificate of completion, and apparently the Herndon police chief is angry that Major Wilson Lee signed his name in Chinese characters. In an email sent last month and obtained by the AP, DeBoard told Lee, quote, "I just found out that the Academy graduation certificates were signed by you in some other language, not in English. This is unacceptable for my agency. I don't want our Herndon officers to receive these, and I am requesting that they are issued certificates signed in English, the language that they are expected to use as an officer." I believe that they bring up a valid point, but at the same time, a little further, on March 18th, the county's deputy executive for safety and security, Thomas Arnold, wrote to DeBoard, informing her that the county was terminating Herndon's affiliation with the academy. Okay, so Herndon Police Chief Maggie DeBoard was the one that complained. The academy director is Major Wilson Lee. He's the one who wrote it, right? Maggie DeBoard says, look, I think this should be written in English. So what do? They tell DeBoard that the county is terminating Herndon's affiliation with the academy, not Major Lee, but Herndon. So they're no longer going to accept Herndon into the academy at all. I think that's a kind of a weird way to go about it. In a statement, Herndon town manager Bill Ashton said the town is reviewing the incident. He defended DeBoard, quote, "It is unfortunate that Chief DeBoard's recent interaction with Fairfax County's Criminal Justice Academy has been viewed as discriminatory. I have personally known Chief DeBoard for over 12 years, and this interaction is completely inconsistent with the dedicated public servant that I know," Ashton said. The town of Herndon is part of Fairfax County, just outside the nation's capital, but the town maintains its own police force. The much larger Fairfax County Police Department is the primary user of the academy, which also serves the town of Vienna, the county sheriff's office, and the county fire marshal. Fairfax County Police Chief Kevin Davis declined to comment on the dispute, but in an email he sent to officers, he defended Lee, saying, quote, "For 16 years of an impeccable career memorializing a legal name given at birth with a signature that exudes heritage pride has not garnered a single criticism, nor should it." Now, it goes on, of course, because that's what they do. Last year, a former Herndon police officer sued the town in federal court, saying she suffered sexual harassment and discrimination at the hands of a supervisor. The lawsuit accused DeBoard of failing to stop the harassment, even though she was aware of it. Now, of course, the lawsuit was eventually settled before trial, but court papers indicate that other officers complained of racial discrimination during the time DeBoard has been chief. In the court papers, though, the town said DeBoard took the female officer's concerns seriously and that she would have recommended firing the officer accused of harassment, but he actually resigned before she could do so. Lawyers for the town said the complaints of racial discrimination were made by officers who faced disciplinary action. Herndon police referred questions Wednesday to the statement issued by the town manager.
That's really weird.
That is an odd story.
That is a very odd story.
I'd put money on that it's the beginning of another set of stories that are going to come out.
That might be.
I've seen this before where this little interaction and then all of a sudden there's this digging and then it turns to this and then this. Maybe I'm way off base, but it's odd, isn't it?
It is odd. So is he from China originally?
That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, I don't
know. That's the other thing. It doesn't say much about, like, it spent a lot of time talking about DeBoard.
Yeah.
But it said almost nothing about what is it? William Lee?
I think that was his name. I think he's
Major Wilson Lee. Let's look this guy up.
All right.
I'm just curious. Major Wilson Lee.
It's kind of strange to sign the diplomas in Chinese.
Yeah, that's really odd.
Like that he's loyal to China.
Right.
And that's kind of disturbing. With China.
I'm really torn. I'm really torn on this, because on the one hand, you live in America. Like, you obviously speak English. Why wouldn't you sign your name in English? Yeah. The entire document is printed in English. I
take it as if he's doing his loyalty to China.
And that's one way to look at it. I mean, it really is, because
and China is trying to take over the world. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, and that's something that. All right, so this looks like him.
Yeah, he's Chinese.
Hold on. Announces command staff. Yeah, Major Wilson W. Lee. So here's Major Lee. I want to actually go and see if we can find out. Okay. This is when he got promoted to major director. Let me. Nope, wrong one. Here. Okay. So this was when he got promoted. This is from January 12th of 2023. Wilson Lee has been promoted to Major, Director of the Criminal Justice Academy. Major Lee previously served as captain of the McLean District Station. Major Lee began his career with the Fairfax County Police Department in 2008. Okay. He went on to serve as the staff duty officer for the Patrol Bureau and the assistant commander of the West Springfield District. Has a bachelor's degree from George Mason University and a master's degree in security and safety leadership from George Washington University. So George Mason University and George Washington University. He also completed IACP's leadership in police organization training. Okay. So hold on. Let me just. Nope, that's not the same person. Interestingly enough, it's very like it's okay. So hold on. Let's get rid of that. No, that's not the right person. So trying to look this guy up, I'm not able to find much about him.
That's curious.
That is also very curious. I'm looking up Wilson Lee. I was just curious if he was born in China, because if he was, okay. I mean, on the one hand, does it show he's, allegiance, whatever, maybe. But on the other hand, maybe it is like a heritage type thing.
It could.
Like, I don't know. Like I said, I'm very torn. I'm very torn. I could actually go either way depending on the explanations and the law surrounding it. I would prefer, though, that he just sign it in English.
Yeah.
I don't see, like, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just
that is really weird. Yes.
And I also find it interesting that was the only officer, the only person that ever brought that up. It was like, okay, that's kind of weird. Why is this in Chinese characters and everybody else signed their name?
I could have a little explanation about that.
Yeah.
Fairfax County is very super progressive Democrat. So they're more likely to be politically correct. It's heavy
There you go.
blue.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah. That actually explains a lot, which also explains why they immediately sided against the person who brought up the problem and with the person, or against the person who brought up the problem and with the person who caused the problem by signing it in Chinese.
It's also one of the richest counties in the country.
Interesting. I did not know that. That explains a lot, actually. All right, so let's see what we can find on this conspiracy theory. Okay. We got like 10 minutes before we have to. Again, 7 o'clock. I'm going to have Kurt Ernst here in the studio. So, I mean, yeah. Let's do a little bit of digging. Unfortunately, let's see what we can find. There's stuff about CERN and the eclipse, theories of like that CERN is opening a portal.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't heard that one.
Let's see. Okay. Yeah, there's Scavino. Let's see here. Yeah, people are saying an earthquake happened today in New York. An eclipse is happening on Monday. A plague of locusts emerging this year. Anybody who's read Revelations knows exactly what's coming next. All right, so let's see here. Yeah, that's just. Now, I will say, did you know that it's passing over like a number of towns called Nineveh?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so the wife actually told me about this. Apparently, there's the last one happened like 7 years ago, right? 2017, and that passed over a whole bunch of towns called something. And it was like, which basically translated to peace. And this one, like Nineveh, if I remember correctly, translates to war or yeah. What does Nineveh mean? So it's the ancient capital of Assyria. Okay. And where's it at? So according, hold on, this may have simply intended place of fish, or may have indicated a goddess associated with fish, or the Tigris, possibly originally of Hurrian origin. It's very fish, according to this. Nineveh, Hebrew, abode of Ninus, exterior growth, growing vigor, colonization, coordination, education of youth, handsome, agreeable. Okay, so this is different than. So, okay, this is not, anyway. That's not what I was looking for, but I will say one thing about this whole eclipse thing. The level of caution is really weird.
There's been a lot of executive orders that have been issued by different governors.
Different states declaring a state of emergency.
I think Holcomb did for Indiana.
Did we? Let's find out.
If I remember right.
Did Indiana declare a state of emergency? Yes, you're absolutely correct.
We did.
Yes, Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb issued a state of emergency declaration on March 26th, effective until 11:59 p.m. on April 9th. So, yes, there is a state of emergency in the state of Indiana. Now, what many people may or may not be aware of is a state of emergency actually opens up a whole lot of response potential for governors and other public servants. So Executive 24-05, Holcomb declared a statewide disaster emergency to ensure preparedness for the total solar eclipse. A bunch of public schools are closed.
So I think I found the list
of all the states. Yeah. What do you got? Go ahead.
You want me to send it to you or just say it?
No, just say it.
Okay. Hold on. Nope. Never mind. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. So
I can't find it. I thought I had the list.
Okay, so
I found it.
Go ahead.
All right. Ahead of the 2024 eclipse, multiple states, counties, and cities located in the path of total area have declared state of emergencies, including Indiana,
Okay.
multiple cities and counties in New York and Texas. Canada's Niagara region has also declared a state of emergency. That's just really weird that they would do it for an eclipse.
Yeah. There is some interesting stuff here. Let me see.
The solar eclipse will be traveling on a path from south-ish to north-ish over the United States of America. And many people believe that this eclipse pathway is actually opening up a portal for humans to receive downloads of information and connect deeper with the universe.
Okay, I'm hoping you guys can hear this. I'll have to log in. If I try to do it to where I can share it, I'll have to log into X, and I haven't done that on this. It'll just take too long. So I'm going to actually move my mic to and start it over. I will be able to share the screen though. Give me just 1 second. I'll just have to use the audio. Hopefully it'll work.
I have seen this video.
There. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me, maybe this will work. Sorry about the back and forth, guys. There we go. Oh, I did it wrong again. There it is. Forgot to check the little box. All right. Here we go. Start this over. You said you've seen this one, right?
I've seen this one.
Okay. Let's make this full screen. Here you go.
Okay, here's what you need to know about the total solar eclipse. Now, a lot of people know that the total solar eclipse will be traveling on a path from frickin' south-ish to north-ish over the United States of America. And many people believe that this eclipse pathway is actually opening up a portal for humans to receive downloads of information and connect deeper with the universe. Now, what's crazy is if you take one letter from every city that the eclipse is traveling over, you can rearrange it to get a message directly from the universe. And what's even weirder, dude...
Shut up. Shut up. Hold on. Shut up. Okay, that's funny. Hold on.
That's got to be a joke.
Okay, hold on. Wait.
I didn't see that part.
That's hilarious. Okay, hold on. So according to him, it's not the first letter though. It's just a letter. Maybe.
Crazy is if you take one letter from every city that the eclipse is traveling over, you can rearrange it to get a message directly from the universe. And what's even weirder, dude, is if you trace the past 3 eclipse pathways, they form a perfect freaking triangle over the United States of America. And if you look at this circle here, that's the true middle of this triangle. It's an untouched piece of land that humans have never made contact with. And what's crazy is if you zoom in on this true middle of the triangle that the eclipse pathways create, you'll find this is the location where P. Diddy is hiding.
This has got to be a joke. Never mind, I take back seeing this video.
Okay, that was funny. That's not what I thought it was. But it was hilarious. Okay. So, all right. I'm still looking. Hold on though.
That wasn't the video I thought it was.
No. Let's see. Okay. Well, let's go. Let's do. Hold on. Okay, yeah. So here's another interesting thing about the rockets that NASA is shooting, right? Did you hear what they're calling it? What they named them?
I heard, but I don't remember what it.
So the abbreviation is like APEP, APEP, which is the Egyptian serpent deity.
Oh.
Right? So I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about here. So this person said, can someone explain to me why NASA is shooting 3 rockets and why did they name the rockets APEP after the Egyptian serpent deity? If we want to verify that, what did NASA call the rockets to the eclipse? So NASA's atmospheric perturbations around eclipse path mission, APEP, APEP, named for the Egyptian god of darkness, an enemy of the sun god Ra.
That is really.
That's dude.
That's weird.
And you can tell they like set out to, we gotta, it's like some of these abbreviations like that. The entire point of the abbreviation was so they could come up with, or the entire point of the names was so they could figure something out to make it do that. This is the case here, like beyond a shadow of a doubt. Like there's some really, really weird stuff. It
might not be true, but it is weird.
It is weird. Yeah. Yeah. NASA's firing 3 sounding rockets on April 8th eclipse paths named at Project APEP or Apophis, named after the serpent deity of chaos, death, and disorder. This campaign is named Apophis after the cosmic world serpent from ancient Egyptian cosmology. The serpent pursues the sun god Ra and every so often nearly consumes the sun disk, resulting in an eclipse. This first round of, I don't know if it's Apophis, Apophis, I don't know, launches occurred during the annular solar, I think it means annual, solar eclipse on October 14, 2023 from White Sands Missile Range, New Mexico. Second round, April 8th from Wallops Island, Virginia. There will be rituals performed during the April 8th eclipse. Masonic, Satanic, Esoteric, Gnostic, Brotherhood of the Snake, and other occult-like groups will be performing. Probably. I mean,
that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. That's not, exactly. Okay, this is kind of weird though. Let me show you this. This is really. This person says, why does this X marks the spot on United States Space Command out of Colorado Springs, Colorado pic look so familiar? Kind of weird, eh? What's the real reason so many rocket launches are scheduled same day as the eclipse? If you look, right? I don't know, man. Let's look at this picture. Okay, so to me, this actually looks like just west of Texas. No, this was the other pictures right here. Dude, I'm very familiar with the geography of the United States, having traveled it extensively. You can see it's more over. Here's Florida, right? You got California right here. There's what do they call that little
the Gulf or the
No, the Gulf of Mexico is right here. This is I forget what the name of this little peninsula is that sticks out. It's part of Mexico, like Baja California.
Okay.
I think that's what it's called. If you look, yeah, see, Gulf of California is right here. It's over here. It's just two totally different things. But anyway, we're going to wrap it up because I got another show here in just a few minutes. But a quick rundown, and I have no idea if any of this stuff is accurate, but what people are saying is make sure you're prepared for a few days, have food, have water, regardless of where you live, because if I were a group that wanted to cause issues, terrorists, whatever, right? Or maybe just bored computer nerds, this would be a good time to do it. The eclipse, mess with people, whatever. It may not even be anything nefarious. Again, an earthquake just hit New York. What does that have to do with an eclipse? Maybe nothing. Yeah. But the timing is weird. And New York doesn't get very many quakes.
No, they don't.
Like, at all. at all.
Quite a few years since
it's weird. Time. It's weird. There's some weird stuff. There's really weird stuff. So if you have the means, make sure your vehicles are filled with fuel. Make sure that you have food for a few days. Make sure that you have clean water. There you go. I mean, it certainly wouldn't hurt to be prepared. And as always, if you have the means to, if you don't have the means to defend yourself, get those means to defend yourself. Now, doesn't even have to be firearms. It can be blades. It can be sticks. It can be nails. It can be what? Have you ever seen Home Alone?
Yeah.
He didn't have, I don't think he had any guns, but he certainly had.
He defended his house.
Yep. Look, this is a blast, and you're coming back Sunday at 7.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna do this again Sunday at 7. We got a full week coming up. We got Monday at 7. We have Al Stevens, LaPorte County Republican chair. He's going to talk about what's going on with the Republican Party in LaPorte County. We got a lot of candidates this year, a lot, and some really, really good ones. The next day we have Joe Haney, current LaPorte County Commissioner. He's coming on the show. Stay tuned. It's going to be wild. And I didn't get a chance to tell you, but I have a spinoff series coming.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, where here's my goal, right? I'm just going to tell you, I have no idea how effective it'll be, but here's my goal. I have family because I was originally born in Southern Louisiana. I lived there till I was like 10 and then moved up here. I have family down there. What I want to do is I want to get regular people from Louisiana onto the show, right? So like the local mechanic, the shrimper, the crabber, right? Have them come on, talk about like how it's different down there. Because I could sit here and tell you all day, but it's not the same because I haven't lived there in a while, right? I don't know if you guys will find that interesting. I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. But Cajun Hoosier is what that's going to be called because I am a Cajun Hoosier. So the goal from one of the guys who helps me with the show, my other producer, he wanted, oh, by the way, we're on IMDb now.
And that's cool.
That is pretty cool.
That just before the show.
Yeah. I'm going to show you guys just because I do think it's cool. So if you go to just regular and you search, if you put in IMDb, might help if I spelled it right, DB, and then you put the name of the show, Dion's Daily Dose, and you press enter. Look, IMDb podcast series. And then it's got, he doesn't have them all yet. Michael Beebe is another of my producers. He's who handles all the like really tedious, but really technical stuff. This is all him. Look at that.
That is cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we're on IMDb now, which is kind of awesome. I'm not going to lie. It is pretty neat for, and we're technically in season 5 now because we started it in 2020, but we kind of started before that. So I don't know. The way that he has it done is kind of weird. I think he went to like primary. So then there's like pre-primary and then primary to general. I don't know how he set it up, but there you go. Kind of neat. Moving on up. I loved that show, dude.
I watched it a little bit.
Yeah. When I was like a kid, I think was it my mom or my grandfather watched it like all the time.
My parents liked it.
Yeah. And I would sit down and watch it. But remember, Sunday at 7, then Monday, Tuesday at least, I got more, but you guys will have to stay tuned for the rest. In just a few minutes, like 12 minutes, we're going to have another guest on, and that is Kurt Ernst. He's running for Porte County Circuit Court Judge. Current judge Alavizos is retiring. So we're going to pick, we have 3 Republicans. We have interviewed the first 2. We have everybody who's in the Republican primary interview, and we'll be able to directly compare and contrast, which is kind of awesome.
That is.
And then we're going to offer our thoughts and talk about who we like for judge. So that's it. Say bye.
Well, bye. Have a good night, everybody.
God bless you. God bless Indiana, and God bless the United States.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers, Shawn Holgram and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2024. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights reserved.